a great group. I got lucky enough. I interviewed the owner and hi, everyone, we're live. Okay. I get very excited, so I got to calm down. It's 9:00 Friday morning, April 16th. And this is a good conversation, but it's kind of serious too. It's business and there's nothing controversy in this conversation. I just noticed excuse me, will you introduce yourself, please, for us? I want to make sure I have the crawler on the bottom of the screen telling us your story. I want everyone to meet Darin Gull. This is a big deal. So, Darin, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Darin Gull with Tracy.net. We are a communications consulting and solution provider. And today we're going to be discussing a little bit about our new partnership with Threat Protector to talk about cybersecurity awareness and the threats of ransomware that have been rampant in the news these days.
Very true. Okay, so, all right. So when we talk about this, let's start right away with your business. So you do the phone, and internet.
Our primary focus is on phone and internet, but we also tend to get involved with our customers on all aspects of their business. As we open the dialogue for consultation, and that's the way we always say it. We don't sell, we consult with people. We come in for a free consultation, take a look at how things are operating in their business now, what improvements could be made, what things are missing, their main pain points in their daily operations, and then we work for solutions for them. I mean, we do beyond just telco and internet services because we get into, we need help with our servers. We need somebody who can help us, with wiring inside the business, etc. We need a guy to put cameras in. So we have connections all throughout all the different industries. So we truly will bring in people and, kind of play almost like a general contractor would. We kind of stay on top of the project and make sure everything's done to their specifications.
So we were talking earlier that my parents had the Bark Animation Art Gallery in Coconut Creek, which is now closed. Yes. And then I came to Daytona Beach to open up the art gallery. And that was probably, of all the steps I had to take, I found that was the most difficult, is getting the phone and everything connected. And when you're doing it yourself, trying to get one to kind of follow the other one and shake hands together as they're all trying, very difficult. So you're a one-stop call.
We are the one-stop call for all your communication needs. We like to say, put us at the center of your communication solutions. Let us do the work for you. We work with all the carriers in addition to having our own platforms. So when we go in, we're not saying, well, this is what's going to make us the most money. We're looking at it and saying, this is what this business needs, because no two businesses are alike. Everybody has unique situations, unique needs. So our goal is to identify what those needs are and get the right solution in place at the right price, because we know what the industry pricing is. So when you go in blind, you're usually going to overpay. So we'll go in there and, we know, what the pricing should be. And, we've had situations where someone says, hey, I really want to go with this particular carrier. Well, that particular carrier's bid was higher than another carrier. So we'll actually go back to that carrier and say, hey, look, they really want to go with you, but we got to get it down to this price. And we'll usually win in those situations and get them, as I said, the best price or the best fit for their business.
So you know what? That's incredible, because I actually made a mistake. So I got a phone with the two cordless phone systems. I paid, I didn't even think to Google it, to double check what I was I just literally went in blind thinking, okay, this is what you need to do. Never thought about, obviously, I don't think that the average person would think that you can negotiate pricing, but it makes sense now. And afterwards, I realized, oh my God, I got charged a $500 for a phone, which I could have bought on Amazon for $80. And I don't even know how I made such a dumb mistake, because I was first timer and, my dad was a little older and I wasn't really getting the best advice of what to do. So I fell into that trap of paying way more because I thought it was a business phone.
You're not alone, and it's not that you made a mistake. You just weren't aware of what options are out there, and that's what a lot of people go through. And we can step in at any stage. We can step in before it happens. We can step in after it happens. And one thing that we really came out with during the pandemic is calling restaurants. I got tired of getting busy signals, so we actually created a product to solve that. And it kind of sounds like it would have solved your problem too. So what we did we had to come up with something that was easy for a restaurant owner to literally plug in and just work. And in addition to that, we queue their calls in the cloud so that their callers never get a busy signal. So the system we deploy, it's a decked base unit, which is like a cordless phone type base unit that plugs directly into their router. That's the only thing they have to do. We have desk phones that connect to it via wireless that have batteries, so even if the power goes out, the phones stay up, and cordless walk-around phones that they can carry around on handsets. And we allow them to mix and match between the two types of handsets. The total solution, including the phone service and all the equipment, is $85 a month, including up to 5 phones.
All right, so I saw that. So one of the problems that I had when I was in the gallery, finally settled, working with clients, the phone would ring. Now, this is kind of interesting, right? Do you answer the phone or not? So by answering the phone in front of the client, it shows, it kind of takes away from the client, but it also shows that if they were to call me, I would answer the phone. Often in art galleries, you only have really one person. I would I say, excuse me for 1 minute. I would go to the phone and it was like a Google call. Yep. And I remember it got to a point where it was way too much. So I was thinking actually when the pandemic hit and then now that we're open, how do they handle all the crap calls that are coming in?
Yeah, that's a great question. And an answer is you can basically have a call menu lead off before it actually rings through to your phones, requiring people to press 1 for this, 2 for that, 3 for this. So that kind of works as your call screener, and those robots aren't going to press the options. So
they don't know how? They really don't?
So, I mean, they could program. I mean, I'm sure there's some that could figure, those types of things out. But we also do keep a block list of known spam calls. And we also give you the ability to just request numbers being blocked. So once you see a number that's being blocked, you just hit it over to us. We add it to our block list, and that person can't call you ever again. So there's very creative ways you can do that. And, when you answer your question, you don't necessarily have to take the call live because they're going to hear your message, when they call your number, if you put in what we call the call menu. And if you don't pick it up, it goes to voicemail. And that voicemail can also SMS out to your cell phone. So if you aren't at the store, that a message was left and you're able to call them back when you're available and when you're ready.
I love that. Okay. So now I own a restaurant. I am having trouble finding staff. I know that sounds crazy, but this is so serious. Kidding on that part. But so right now it's all over the news that restaurants are having a hard time finding staff. Share with us what you believe is a reason for the lack of employees now for restaurants. Yeah,
well, I think what happened is during the pandemic, when the restaurants shut down, restaurant workers needed to work, so they got into other industries and other jobs. And now there's a crunch, to find that staff or entice them to come back. And I mean, I think there's still an issue where people are still a little leery of, are we going to have another wave? Or the restaurant's going to shut down again? And, so to commit to that as a career again is scary for people. So, I mean, we believe people do what they need to do. And those workers couldn't just sit around and wait forever. They had to, find something to do. But I think as the state continues to open up and as more and more people are vaccinated, we're reaching a point where I think that we're not going to see another shutdown, is kind of my opinion, in Florida. And we're also seeing a ton of new restaurants opening. I mean, I know I'm in a restaurants lead group down this way, and there are so many new restaurants, tours coming from New York to open in Florida because of the more open economy.
See, yes. So that makes sense. Thank you so much, Darin, because I love that you didn't throw this blanket on all the employees and say, well, they're all unemployed and they're all staying home and they don't want to work. That's not necessarily the case. And if we think like that, we put ourselves in a box and now we're not thinking about solutions, which is exactly what your company has done. But I still have a missing point to all of this. So does this help me? I'm in the restaurant. I need to have one person now answer the phone to take whatever the questions are, field the questions, and also take down the to-go orders. But I don't have to, I'm kind of knowing that they're going to be screened by the phone in essence.
They can be, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of restaurants want to answer their phones live, but most do choose the menu option. And then what we do is depending on what option they press, for instance, like we could say press 1 for directions and hours. And that can be an automated message that literally plays off of, that nobody has to answer that call. The next option might be to order takeout, and so if they press 2 for takeout, when that call comes through to the phones, we can prepend it with the word takeout. So that they're calling about takeout. So whoever handles takeout can answer that call, or it could roll over and go to voicemail if no one can answer it. You can have one for reservations. You can have it go to a lot of like the owners of the restaurants will say for catering and etc. They want those calls to come to them directly, but they're not always in the restaurants. So that call actually can ring out to their cell phone. So we can connect it to, without them giving out their cell phone number, we can give a way for people to reach them. And it rings through to their cell phone, though it comes in on the main business line.
Okay, so I love business, by the way. I'm the vice president for SCORE here in Volusia Flagler. I am all about business, and I'm all about customer service, and I'm a good client to a lot of restaurants. So what I've noticed now also going on is that it's not easy going on Facebook and understanding how to change your hours, especially if they're changing all the time. It's that many people don't know how to go to Google and or even get their password on Google. So they're not changing. So this happened last week. You get excited. You look at Facebook. I look at Google. They're open. Everything looks good. I don't really think of calling because in my mind, if I call the restaurant, I'm bothering them and I'm taking someone away from what they should be doing. So I'm going to count on someone actually making sure the information is correct on the internet. Get over there. They're closed. So now they've lost me. So for $85, if I knew that I could call the restaurant and hear the updated hours. So a lot of times that is such an important, like, I think all restaurants, not only should you have this phone and the ability, but you'd want to on Facebook, let people know, call this number for our hours. And then the directions are smart too, because sometimes if you're not careful, you've got people going in the wrong direction. So I've had that happen in front of the address that's listed on Facebook, and there's no number to call because they probably don't want to be bothered. So I could sell this program. I love what we do.
We'd love to have you do that. We can talk about that after the show. One other thing to note is we also do free greetings, professional greetings. We have an AI engine we use that can take any written script, convert it to a greeting. We have different voices, voices with accents. A lot of people like a nice British or Australian accent, so we can do it in that way. We have background music we can play, license-free, royalty-free music that we can play in the background. So, and anytime, as you said, like when they want to update those hours they don't even have to do anything other than call us or email us, and we can update that for them automatically. And that's all part of our service.
The other thing too, for restaurants, I'm talking to restaurants now, is that if you don't have a program like this, what happens is you have an employee that's probably overworked due to the circumstances, tired, got 3 tables in front of them. They may have a system where whoever's closest to the phone answers the phone, and that phone is now being answered. Hello. Okay, this and that's honestly a turnoff too, because when you call, you want that person on the other end to sound relaxed and excited. So if you can't, I would at this point right now and where we are, I would absolutely go with a phone message, and that is said because my parents, when they started their business many years ago, the whole key, my parents always felt that they wanted to be live and always have a live person. But it really is not the option as, back in the day that it is now. So you really have to make sure that my first impression is going to be soothing and making me want to go there. Maybe a few specials too that would be announced.
Yep. Okay. Anything they want.
I want to go to the security. So I know you've teamed up, so I want to hear about that. And then can you tell me what happened in Broward?
Yeah. So basically, we've had some discussion going on for a while with a company called Threat Protector. And what they do is they do basically training what we call human firewalls. In any organization, you can have the best internet security in the world as far as firewalls, to catch emails and, firewalls to, stop incoming traffic. But the weak link is your weakest trained employee behind that firewall. All it takes is one click of them or taking an infected flash drive and plugging it into their computer. I mean, anything like that. If that happens behind your firewall, there's no protection to keep that from spreading to the computers behind the firewall. So what Threat Protector does, and I've known these guys for a long time in the industry, and we've gone back and forth for a while, but as this has grown and becoming more rampant, where you're seeing things like in Broward County, the school district actually recently had a ransomware attack. And that's exactly how it happened, is somebody brought a computer in, because as we like to say, every network nowadays is what we call BYOD, or bring your own device. People use laptops, they use tablets, they use cell phones, and they're bringing these devices to work and connecting them to the corporate Wi-Fi. And when that happens, that now any virus that's on that can start seeking out other devices behind the firewall.
Wait. So I thought it was the other way. I thought that if I'm in a place and I connect to the Wi-Fi, that I run the risk of they're infecting my computer. But you're saying
both ways. So like that's how it happens. If you have an infected device on the same network you're on, it's going to seek out to infect other devices. And that's what a hacked machine will do, is they're literally putting in a payload in it, and it literally is scanning networks looking for other computers and devices to infect. And so it's a scary, scary thing. And the ransomware is extremely scary because they literally lock your files. So what Threat Protector does, and what we're looking to do with our customers is in our partnership, is we negotiated better pricing for our customers. In fact, if anybody wants to go, they can go to our website, which is traci.net. So that's traci.net /promo. And that'll take them into a little bit about what Threat Protector does and give them a code that they can use. So we've done a lot of radio promo, so the code is radio 10. But when they click through to go to Threat Protector and enter that code, they'll save 10% off of the services, any service they sign up for. And what the service does, as I said, is it literally gives you training sessions that your people go through. It also helps you create your action plan of how you protect your network and what do you do when there is a breach. Because if you don't report a breach and you don't act on a breach, and if you can't show that your employees were well trained and were aware of things, breaches are going to happen even to the best trained staff, but it's going to mitigate the effect of what the breach is going to do. You're going to have your action plan of how do we get back our files if something gets ransomware locked. Are we doing appropriate backups? Are we taking things and doing version histories of things? So it's a whole process of stuff that the average person can't put this type of package together, and it's available to any business, large or small. Fortune 500 companies spend millions of dollars on this type of package. This is available for literally hundreds of dollars, to the individual on a monthly basis. Like 20 users is $100 a month. I mean, so for that level of security, you've got to view it as you have insurance policies for your vehicles, you have insurance policies for theft in your business, but a cyber theft could be even more impactful than stealing of merchandise out of your business. So $100 a month is an incredibly low price for that added security and process to have it in place.
All right. So now I can actually see I sell promotional products, by the way. I work for Halo, so we love your golf shirt. But all right. So first of all, if I go into a Starbucks or a local coffee shop, or I go to any of these common workplaces, as a consumer, I need to be asking, how are you protecting my computer?
Yeah, the best thing to do with Starbucks and places like that, they have reasonable security in place, but never open your bank account. Never go into your corporate network unless you're on what's called a VPN. And that's something that is very important. A VPN is a virtual private network. And what that does is it's encrypting everything coming in and out of your computer. So even if someone saw the traffic, they couldn't intercept the traffic.
All right. But okay, so let's just say, though, I was going to go to one of these places to do a work. So you bring your computer and you work in there. How do I know? I mean, it's a small business. Maybe they don't even, are they really, is it okay to say, how are you protecting, or what is a question to ask to make sure?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to ask them what security procedures they have in place. Most of them aren't going to know what you're asking because they just had somebody come in and put in a wireless network because they said you're supposed to have wireless network. You're a coffee shop. So really it's on the individual user to protect themselves. So in those cases, it's good. And there are several free ones online or subscriber level based cloud-based VPNs. And that is what you can do to protect yourself, is just when you're in a public network, if you're in a hotel room, if you're et cetera, to open a VPN before you start opening your emails, your you're logging into your work network, those types of things, or your bank. You don't want to do any of that unless you're on a network you know and trust, or you're on what's called a virtual private network, a VPN.
But it's still not so easy. When we went to China and to get the VPN, I found that I wasn't sure if I'm getting the right one. So that would be a really great white paper to create and have available on.
I'll definitely make a note of that. That would be definitely something. We do offer some firewall services, and that's something we do in part of the firewall service. And we do a hosted VPN service that we can do for people. It's like $10 a month, and it does cover the ability to use it at anytime, anywhere. And so it's, you can contact tracy.net, traci.net, and we can consult you and get you set up on a VPN.
Yeah, that's good, because it really isn't as easy as we think, because you don't know what apps you're downloading, if that's a problem too, but anyways, okay, so another question now with the internet. So North Miami Beach got hit. We had a chamber here got hit with the Zoom, and going in and very violent videos going in. And yes, obviously the solution is, if you're having a Zoom meeting, do not have your link public. But
right.
So I don't think, so I have a couple of questions on this one. First of all, serious. You can't undo what someone has seen, and it could trigger someone. It could create PTSD. What I read the other day, what happened in North Miami Beach was very violent. So I think that as an employer or whoever is responsible, you're responsible for keeping people safe. And that means visually safe too when they're on the internet. So it's really serious. So tell me about those steps to make sure.
Yeah. Well, when the pandemic hit, nobody was ready for online meetings, and that's including Zoom. They weren't ready to the level they are now. And so a lot of it was kind of baptism by fire, as I like to say. And so they have learned that you have to have not only multi layers of protection. As in anything in life, a single layer of protection is not going to solve everything. So what they've come up with now is not only passcode protect your room, but also have a lobby check-in. So the moderator is literally having to, or in a school's case, the teacher is authorizing the person to join the meeting. So they're not just, even if you knew the password, you're not going to get into the meeting where you could share your screen unless the teacher approves you. So it's important, to know who was invited to the meeting, and making sure only the people you invited you're letting into the meeting. And that's how you can protect against those types of things. And Zoom has tightened their security quite a bit in that regard too. Always put a password on a meeting, when you're posting a meeting, just to make sure you don't have random people joining. But like I said, the most important thing is to have what's called a lobby check-in in your meeting. So the host has to actually approve you to join the meeting.
So actually, I'm guilty of this because I run our SCORE workshops, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, only the registered attendees are receiving the link, but that's still not enough protection. How do they hack in if I have a meeting of 20 people and I've specifically emailed them the specific link? Is there still another way where the hackers can come in?
Well, yeah, what they're doing is either they somehow have a compromised machine of one of the people you invited to the meeting, so they can see that login information. Or number two, they're just running random generations trying to log into meetings. But a lot of the stuff you're seeing is malicious by somebody who knew somebody in the meeting. They invited him into the meeting just to pull a prank. Some of it was just pranks, which were horrible pranks. And most of the ones, the compromise you were seeing, were meetings that just didn't have any security. There was no password. There was nothing. So at that point in time, they're just randomly typing in meeting IDs and, hey, we got a hit here. Let's do what we want to do. So again, it just comes down to educating people on proper procedures and policies when hosting meetings, and you can mitigate all of that.
So I feel like I was educated. I understood everything. I'm the first to tell you stories, but yet I'm like, okay, but let's not have the waiting room. So, okay, so I'm changing the way I'm running the meetings now for SCORE.
Yeah, if you want ultimate security, that's the only way to go.
Yeah, well, I want the ultimate security because I don't want anyone to be harmed. Have you heard of any employers or organizations being sued because they did get hacked and it did create psychological damage, let's say in my layman terms, and then it came back, well, you didn't protect us?
Yeah, I have not done much research into the online meetings, but I can tell you from a ransomware or stealing of credit card information and et cetera, a big example of that is HIPAA, in the medical field. And, HIPAA is a standard. It's not security in its own right. But again, it all comes back to training your employees and procedures you need to follow or should be following. And as long as the companies that are the most liable to the biggest fines or fees are companies that didn't have policies and procedures in place. And, again, that's where our partnership with Threat Protector, and they, by the way, also just recently started doing HIPAA compliancy as well. So those, regular cyber awareness and HIPAA compliancy, if you're in a medical field or work with medical people, there are certain policies and procedures you have to follow. And if you don't follow those and you get a breach, you're in trouble. And that's the ultimate point. You've got to go, it's like anything else. You've got to show your defense. Yes, a breach happened, but here's what we were doing to prevent this breach. Here is our policies, that, once we were aware of the breach, we reported it within X number of days. So you literally define all that out. And then if you have that in place, you're going to be protected from the big fines. If you don't have that, that's where you'll see the big fines and lawsuits.
Interesting. All right, before I let you go, I want to ask you this. So Wednesday you had a workshop I saw, and you were coming in as an expert in your field. What was the overall conversation that you had regarding restaurants? Yeah,
the main thing with the restaurants is they're all still looking for aid and ability to get back on their feet. That was the biggest thing that we heard from them. So they were curious about PPP, they were curious about grant money, and we did have one of the experts in that area that did an excellent job in presenting that. And then, just leeriness of where the industry is going, and other ones that are opening, as you said, how do we find staff? That's type of thing. What type of equipment can we need? Where can we cut back? Where can we save? We all know restaurants run very lean. People think they're these, making just hand over fist on money, but they're dealing with perishable goods. They've got to time their supply chain. They've got to, make sure they're getting, what they need out when they do. They're dealing with staff that is not highly paid because they primarily work on tips. So how do you coordinate that with your staff? How do you get the right people in? So restaurant owners, I have the utmost respect for people who open a restaurant and run a restaurant because it's not easy. I mean, it is a tough business. There's a lot they have to worry about and think about. And that's where, again, like with Tracy.net, we want to take that worry of communications out of their minds and let us handle it for you. So they need trusted partners they can work with. We network with a lot of those people in industry, so we can be that source of contact for them. There's a company I work with that actually has a simple device that drops into your fryer and can reduce your oil turnover by 2 to 3 times longer, so that your oil will last longer. And it keeps your food crispier because the oil doesn't stick as much, so that at that point in time, and we have other ones that will put ventilation systems into the restaurant that literally will kill COVID. So it gives their customers peace of mind of knowing that COVID isn't circulating in that restaurant. It's well protected and saved. There's ways to save on garbage. There's supply chain people that will get you much better rates and negotiated with single distributors and help you guide you through that. It's still your contract with the distributor, but they're going to bring a better price to you than you would get going to them directly. So there's lots of options out there for restaurants. It's just, again, it comes down to lack of knowledge, lack of awareness of where do I go for these solutions. And, again, as I said, that's some place where we step in, even though, we're a communications company, we're problem solvers. We are networkers, and we want to find the right solutions for people, regardless if it's something we sell or something we don't sell. We want people to call us, and when we can help them with our products, we do. If it's not, we'll refer them to somebody who can.
All right, so 2 more questions.
Yes.
One question is, okay, so on Wednesday, the workshop that you had, was that recorded?
I believe it was recorded, yeah, and it was through the Restaurant News Network, and I think it's only posted privately on their website. But you could probably reach out to Howard Appel, and I can send you his info, and he could probably give you a copy of it. Yeah,
I would like that. Okay, so and now I'm in Volusia County, so Daytona Beach. So do you have someone in this area? How does that work? Or is it just all remotely conversations to set it up?
We had people attending from all over the country, not just from Florida. So the restaurant business, I mean, it's nationwide for us. I mean, our product, literally, we ship it configured. I mean, it's plug and play.
Oh, it really is.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So we've been turning up restaurants out in Palm Springs, California, Cummings, Georgia, Texas. So I mean, we've got a few barbecue places we just recently turned up in Texas. So I mean, it's nationwide for us. I mean, we walk them through it. We can handle and manage everything remotely. And if someone is needed to be brought on site, we'll seek out a tech in that area to send out to dispatch.
Wow.
Yeah.
So honestly, that actually saves money too, because you're not having a window. We'll be there between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m.
Absolutely.
So you're getting the box, you're coming in, you're plug and playing, call if you have any questions. Wow. I want to open up a restaurant now. I think that is a big deal. I love it.
It is. So it's again, making things easy for people. That's what we're all about. And a lot of that comes from my personal experiences. I mean, I run a business, so I've had those pain points that these people are having. I've seen it, and and how do we do it? And I'm always a person that thinks there's got to be a better way. So that's everything I do in life. I'd love to be told that can't be done, because that to me is a challenge to figure it out. So that's the way we run our business. We're always looking at what's coming. That's our partnership with Threat Protector. I mean, as cybersecurity is becoming a bigger threat to every business, and now there's a way to deploy that type of security and protection to a smaller business. We're all about that. So anything we can do to keep our customers, we say, at the forefront of communications. Our kind of tagline is, let us be the Advil to your aches and pains of telco and internet services. So, we will step in and we will alleviate those pains for you. Let us offload it to us. Let us take over and handle it for you.
So literally, after less than $3 a day, which is the cost of like 4 pain pills, or if you take a lot more.
Hadn't thought of it that way. We may have to add that in there. We're cheaper than buying the Advil.
Yeah, the analogy is great, because it really isn't that much money at all when you think about just the saving of 5 times going to the phone to have to deal with the Google and the robot calls, student loans, Social Security crap. It's just so horrible. Absolutely. So thank you for what you do. I love it. Any last words?
Just, we know business is tough. Keep going at it. And I mean, we kind of work off a belief system, and I believe people do start a business because they're passionate about something, but then issues can distract from that passion. So we want to be the person to eliminate the issues that are distracting you from your passion, allowing you to pursue your passion and succeed in what your passion is.
I love that. Passion. All right. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you. I look forward to downloading this and getting it out. And thank you for really answering that question about why, the difficulty in getting staff. I love it. When you think like you do, you open up the doors to understanding and then getting more staff. If you just think that everyone's sitting home collecting unemployment, especially in Florida where it's not that much, then you have boxed yourself in and you're probably not solving any solutions. So thank you.
Happy to do it. Like I said, we look for open communication, consultation, and we're problem solvers. We don't look to blame. We look to solve problems.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I hope I can make some business, and have a great rest of the day. Thanks, you.
You too, Adrian. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is great. Thank you. Thank you. I'll put all the information on the bottom of the screen. I don't know why my crawler's not working, but I'll make sure that it gets there. Okay. And then if you have I'll grab some stuff from your web and make sure, but this is a big deal. So thank you.